welcome to another video. Now firstly, I just want to apologize. I haven't uploaded a video for quite a few months now, but with the current situation going around in the world, it's not been easy, you know, lockdown and all that stuff, and having to get a different job because of late. And yeah, a lot of you out there would know what I'm talking about. It's not easy. Now today's video, and this was a few requests from our subscribers, is they would love to see me overclocking my Ryzen 3600. Now, to be honest, I'm going to put it straight out there first, is I'm not a master in overclocking. I'm never overclocked in my life. I've always had Intel CPUs, and I was never bothered to overclocking them. I was happy with the speed I've got. And now that I'm no more an Intel fanboy, and I've got myself AMD, I was like, I did a bit of research, and to put it out straight there, there's no real benefit from overclocking. And we're going to do some Cinebench scores from all the different types of overclocks, from straight out of the box to a precision boost and all that overclocks. And we're first going to run a few in the Ryzen software. I think it's Ryzen Master they call it. And then we're going to do a BIOS one. Now the reason I do a BIOS overclock is I've noticed with the Ryzen Master is that a few times when I restart my computer, the overclock is gone. I have to go back into Ryzen Master and set that overclock again. And you know, I don't like doing that. So I'd rather dial it into the BIOS. I know it's there, it's done, it's set for, and I don't have to worry about it. And with that said as well, with the overclock that I do in the BIOS is now on my chip, the stable I've got was got 4.3 gigahertz, and that is using 1.36 volts. And she's running cooler than stock. That's about 10 degrees cooler than stock with the overclock, and she's running 4.3 gigahertz. So the difference though is, like, if you're running from stock, you'll see that your CPU, your frequency, depending on what you're doing, it will go from 3 gigahertz up to 4 gigahertz, depending on what you're doing. With my overclock, as soon as you start the computer, she's running 4.3 gigahertz straight off the bat. Which gives a little bit higher idle temperature, but when I'm gaming, when I'm full on running video editing and I'm rendering, she's cool. She's not even above 65 degrees. So let's go over a few things that I've learned, and please correct me with what I'm showing you guys if I'm wrong. And I would love to appreciate your input on it, because as I said, I am not a master in overclocking. I'm like a noob when it comes to overclocking. So I would really love your input on this. And let's hope you enjoy the video. Let's get on to it. Okay, let's try that again. Okay, so I've got Ryzen Master open, and this is now what I'm talking about. My overclock has just reset itself. This just reset itself. Why? I don't know. That's why I like to do a BIOS overclock. Now for this video, I disabled all the BIOS overclocks so I can show you guys what's happening. Now this is stock. This is like how you will get it after the factory, after you've installed everything and you're running it. Now the only program I'm running now at the moment is obviously Ryzen Master and OBS for recording. So we can see the voltage the CPU is currently pulling 1.43 volts, and that's out of the box. I'm not happy with that. Not happy with that at all. It is just awful. Shouldn't pull more than 1.35, 1.36 at all. So let's go to my OC. Okay, now this is OC, but I've dialed in 4.3 at 1.35 volts, all right, on the Ryzen Master. But now, while we're on this, let's call up Cinebench. Cinebench. Let's see if we're gonna, let's make Ryzen master a little bit smaller here, put it down here. Let's see what happens. Let's run CPU. Let's keep an eye on the temperatures and peak speed, CPU power. Just keep an eye on all those. I say temperatures is quite okay. I think it's a bit colder today. And yeah, I just apologize in advance. My case does sound almost like a server. It's just, I'm not really worried about noise, fan noise. It doesn't bother me. Alright, so this is out of the box. So when you look at our voltages, I mean, she's not even boosting it that high. 4 gigahertz, that's pathetic. Alright, so what is the score? 2976. That's our score, straight out of the box. Now, you can see here, my previous is 3712, that's with my overclock. That's quite a difference. Well, already is 800 points, well, it's quite a difference. Now, let's go back to my OC. Alright, there's my OC, let's apply it. That's my manual OC, 4.3 gigahertz at the peak voltage of 1.35. Let's go back. It's all dialed in. Let's run it again. Keep your eyes on the peak speed. There, 4.3 gigahertz, straight out of the bat. Voltage, 1.349. Temperatures, same, a few degrees less actually. I think it's a little bit colder here. But also, I want you guys to take a notice on PPT, EDC, and all those. Do you see a difference there? We'll explain it. I'll explain it a little bit later now what's actually happened there. Or maybe while it runs. So, out of a box, your motherboard detects, okay, you got a Ryzen 3600, your stock PPT is, actually no, I think I've got it here on my phone where the stocks are. Hold on, let me just double check. I think I've got it. Just can't remember. Okay, it doesn't look like I've got it. I don't think I've saved it where the stocks are. No, so when you're running the overclock, it disables the what AMD said that, listen, the Ryzen 3600, for example, that's its stock EDC, that's a stock power. Once you put an overclock, it discards it and it runs at maximum that the motherboard manufacturer said this board can handle. This is a B4 Mortar Max, so it is a decent board. Now, if you want to double check what your board can handle, do yourself a favor, go over to Buildsroid, go have a look at what he's got on there. He does very good things on the motherboards. Oh, look at my speed, 3217. I wonder if it's because I'm running OBS that it's actually gone down. But the 3712 was my BIOS overclock. The 3217 is just, there we go. That's it. Okay, let's reset everything here. Okay, back to stock. let's try auto overclocking. Let's see what auto overclocking does. Alright, let's do auto overclock. I'm just gonna restart Windows. I don't want to restart Windows, man. Okay, let's do precision overdraft. We're doing just do that's simple. Let's just do it. Alright, precision overdraft's on. Let's go home so we can monitor temps and stuff. Let's run Cinebench again. And let's have a look what's happening here. So off the bat she's running a little bit hotter. Not much, but a little bit hotter. But look at the voltage. Okay, now I do have a liquid cooler, all-in-one liquid cooler my computer. Look at the peak speed. Four gigahertz. It's not really doing much. Nothing to brag about there. Did it save the... oh no, it didn't save the previous one. I think it was 2.9 something, wasn't it? The previous Cinebench score was 2.9. So let's see what we got. So 3217 was my OC. The stock one was 2.9. Let's have a look here. $2989. It's worth nothing. Let's reset it again. Now, all right. Let's do a favor. Let's do the auto overclocking. It's gonna restart the computer. All right. Let's let it restart, and we take it over back from there. Okay, computer is restarted. We're back in. We've opened Ryzen Master. We're now on the Ryzen Master's automatic overclock. So let's see what we got. So it says here we've got 4.3 gigahertz voltage. Not happy with that voltage. I do not like that voltage. Anyway, let's open Cinebench. All right. Let's just do this. Okay. Let's run Cinebench. And let's see what happens. Let's look at that peak speeds. I don't see anything happening there. Temperatures is still alright, but it's running almost at the same speed it did as default. Now, just for you guys, I don't know if I've mentioned it, but my memory is running at 3600 megahertz. Now you can look again at the EDC, PPT, TDC powers. You see how I've changed to the max the motherboard can support. Let's see what score we're gonna get. I think the last one was 2.9 something, and my manual overclock was 3.2. But keep your eye on the voltage. I just want you to keep your eye on the voltage. and we've got 3002. So just by lowering your voltage alone, you're already getting a better performance. Because let's go back to my IC. Let's just apply this again. It's going to want to restart again to take that auto overclock off. So just by changing the voltage, it has a big impact on the Ryzen CPU. Because the more voltage, the more heat it's going to produce. So the Ryzen CPUs like to be cool. If you can run it ice cold, you'll be able to get a very decent overclock on it. Now let's go. I'm just trying to think how I'm going to record the BIOS settings. Let's see if we can go into the BIOS, do my manual overclock, and come back into Cinebench and see if we can beat the 3200 score on my standard OC on Ryzen Master. Now this is obviously not real world scenario, but I just want to show you the difference you actually get in this is overclocking your CPU. It's not really it is overclock because you're running faster than the default would be, but you're gonna actually get a longer life out of your CPU because you're not pushing that high voltage in your CPU. Your CPU is going to be happier with less voltage. Alright, let's close that off. Okay, and let's get into the BIOS. So we're going to stop recording, and then I'll see you now when I'm back into the BIOS. Okay, we're back into the BIOS. Now, I hope my camera will stay focused onto the screen and not I just hope I remember how to do this. So CPU frequency, we want, what did we say? 4,300, am I right? Was it? Yeah, 4,300. CPU voltage, 1.365. Come on. Leave that on auto. Alright. Not going to change any further. Echo mode. Disable that. Precision boost overdrive. Okay. Now here you see the PPT limits and the TDC limits and the EDC limits that we saw in other program in Ryzen Master. Now, you could change them here as well. So, I see it's kept my settings. Now, these PPT limits and TDC limits and EDC limits, I just did an uneducated guess because I don't want to push the motherboard to the maximum it wants to run at when you do an overclock. So I took what the defaults are on, I think the Ryzen 3900X, what their defaults is, because this motherboard is supposed to support up to a 3900X. So I looked at what their limits were and I just used their limits because I don't want the motherboard to go above that to blow it. Alright, so I'm happy with all those. So to be honest with you guys, I'm not going to mess around with any of the sock voltages. Well, sock voltage is 1100. Those, the VDDG, I've changed to manual. Well, these I've got, these are the defaults. And I do not want to run the system above the default. So my overclock is not an overclock and not the best I can get. Is I want a stable system that's not going to put too much voltage into the CPU, and I'm a happy chappy. I'm very happy with that. I don't want to do anything more than that. So Okay, all those are in. Just have a, it's the first MSI motherboard that I've actually found that it's freaking impossible to control the mouse. Come on. Just want to double check everything else. All looks so good. Save and exits. You know what I forgot to do? I've not made any changes. Are you sure about that? I've done. Okay, and we're back. We dialed in our manual overclock, and it says now 4.3 gigahertz there. I'm not sure it took. I can see these are, it's now on sort of a default, but something does not look right to me because my custom dialed SOC TDCs and EDCs are not there. But my voltage is there, the voltage I put in, which I'm more than happy about. So our highest score so far on Cinebench was 3.2, and that was with my OC on Ryzen Master. Now we're on the BIOS overclock. Well, don't know if you want to call it overclock. So let's run and see what we get. Now look at the temperature, 61. It is a couple degrees cooler. And I tell you what, in gaming, long sessions of gaming, you will notice a straight out. But look at my speed, exactly 4.3 gigahertz. Look at the peak voltage, 1.36. I'm happy with that. I'm so happy with that. So we're running 4.3 gigahertz. Our CPU is sitting nice and happy at 63, now maximum 63 so far. 4.3 gigahertz, peak voltage 1.368. So we're not putting extra voltage what we don't need. Yeah, it's millivolt, it's not much, but it can do a difference over years. So let's see if I can beat my old score. Well, I don't know if OBS will make a difference in that. I should learn to put my phone on silent when I'm doing videos. And we got 3226. Not a big difference, but it's still my OC. It's still better than the auto overclock. It's better than the precision boost overclock. We're running cooler, and we're not shoving unnecessary voltage into the CPU. I can't complain. I'm happy with that. I have tried to go over 4.3 gigahertz. I've tried 4.4. I just can't get it stable, even with putting a little bit more voltage into the CPU. And I guess, like they say, it's a lottery, silicon lottery. And well, I didn't get the best of the best, but I'm happy with 4.3. More than happy with 4.3. So that is my overclock. Let me know what you think of the video. Any advice you can give me. If you've taken any value out of this video, But I prefer to run a stable overclock, less voltage in my CPU, and I've got no problems. I've been running this this overclock since I built the system, and I haven't had a day's issues. I've actually uninstalled Ryzen Master because for some reason Ryzen Master causes a conflict now and then with my BIOS overclock, so I'd rather not have it on the system and just run my BIOS overclock, and I'm happy about it. So let me know, and thank you again for watching this video. Goodbye.